Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Chris Williams aka Dark Hammock, and this video is the fourth video in a series where I am installing Linux to use as my professional workstation with all the tools that I need. Hopefully this helps you out and you guys can follow along. In this video we're going to be installing the drivers and setting up a RAID mirror so you don't lose your artwork that you're working on. What's the point in all of this? And if you're going to just lose your artwork if a hard drive fails, I've lost it in the past. The first 2 years of college, completely gone because hard drive failed and I didn't have it backed up. With a mirror RAID, you won't have to worry about that, and with Linux, you're going to be able to take that RAID mirror and even move it into another system in the future without losing your data. So with that being said, first things first, we're going to go, if you're running an Nvidia graphics card and you are on Linux Mint, if you go in here to your system settings, I'm hoping that this works. I haven't done it in a while. You go to your device manager. You're going to type in your password. I don't know why it asked me to do that like 3 times. Oh, because I opened it up 3 times. I don't know why I bugged out like that. But you can see that it installed by default the open source drivers. What we're going to do is we're going to install this. And what I mean by I hope this works out. Why? Again. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I'm double clicking and I'm just supposed to click once. The problem with Nvidia drivers is it's not open source. The good ones are not open source, and they're not in what they call the kernel. Long story short is every time that kernel gets updated, you have to download the drivers, reinstall them, or else you don't have your graphics. Hopefully this device manager works like it did in the past, and they keep track of when it updates, and when they do a kernel, they build against this. So you don't have to worry about the headache that some other Linux operating systems have to go through. So we're going to apply changes. Forgot to go and mention the reason I said we're going to go with the recommended. It's also the required driver version for Unreal 5. So when I recorded this stuff earlier, I did not record my microphone. So I'm recording that all over again. I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to walk you through what I was doing. After the system has been rebooted, we're going to check to see what the drivers are that are actually running. And if you look down here in the corner on the actual Linux OS, that little icon popped up after the Nvidia drivers were installed, so we know that they're working. That's a switcher for what graphics card you want to go and do. I'm typing in this command to go and see what drivers are actually installed for the cards. I will put the actual text down in the description. And what you see is that it typically with the AMD, you might have AMD GPU for Radeon, and that's why I'm going over it. It looked like my computer installed just the GPU, AMD GPU, and it doesn't have the Radeon graphics card. You can see that the Linux kernel, the main part of the operating system, is using the Nvidia drivers, and all of those other drivers are actually installed, but they're not loaded. So that's a good thing. The AMD GPU drivers are what we want to go and use if Unreal 5, Blender, those kinds of applications. The only thing you cannot use AMD GPU for would be Substance Painter if you paid for it and got it off of Steam, but that's a whole other topic. Now, if you do have the Radeon driver being used, follow this, and I did a super user xed to bring up the editor in root mode. I'm opening up the location on a list that will actually blacklist drivers and keep them from running every time you. Everything's listed as blacklist. All you have to do is scroll the whole way down just to be on the safe side. Just save that file out, close it out, and when you reboot, you will not be installing Radeon, or you would not be using the Radeon drivers if they did happen to install. Okay. This is what I'm going to have to fix. If your graphics card does this and you're on a Radeon, I'm going to show you how to fix it. You might see me fight with this 2 or 3 times of rebooting and stuff like that. I will skip ahead in the video. What's happening is the default drivers that come installed with the Linux operating system are finding my card as a 480, and the voltages and the clock speeds are different than what the card actually runs at. Also, I think I might have got a bad card from Dell. It's a Radeon 580, but it's a 4 gig, so it has half the RAM of most of the cards. Let's see if they have CoreCtrl. Nope. So this is how we add the repo. We're going to need to open this up. It is command line. Sorry about having to do command line, but this is kind of important. We're going to do sudo, which gets you the admin permission, add app repository, which a repository is just a location that you're going to be downloading, and you say that you trust them to install software from them. After you add a repository, it will stay up to date in the background just like your Windows updates. Put in your password. Okay, that was added. Now it's added. We're going to sudo apt update, which updates our list of repos. Then we're going to sudo add get install CoreCtrl. Yes. Run the command. You're going to get on here. You're gonna notice this is the only stuff that you go and get when you go on to advanced. We're gonna set it to fixed and we're gonna set it to low for now, and it should keep our millivolt down and these down. Or clock speeds. Clock speeds and the millivolts. But there is something you can do and pass off to the kernel that will allow you to actually have different stages. And I'll do that. I will set it up now. Elevated privileges is what we want. Got that. Want to put it in this spot. Yeah. Should put it right in this grub command line Linux _default with the quiet splash. We should put it right in there, and that should pass the kernel module. Save. We are at root, which is your super user administrator. Close that out, and now it says update grub. Now that should stay even if we update. Gonna close, cancel that. The other thing we need to do is we need to make sure that this launches on startup, because if not, it's a problem. So it will cause that glitching to happen. We'll get to how I got to that here in a second. Administrator, control panel, system settings control panel. Come down here to startup applications. We're going to add one. Custom command. Name. For control. Super do. Let's just try it with CoreCtrl and see if it runs. Startup delay, no. Add. Restart. Okay. Now you have all of it. We want to turn that on, and I am taking this. Actually, we'll just disable these top two. I'm fine with underclocking my CPU. We'll just take that, we'll make a match. Just because these are different levels. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna leave it at that. Apply, save. It should stay running. Yep. Alright. That should stop the graphical glitches. Now that that's done. Alright, now I did find out through all of these videos that one thing that if you are not having this pop up, it's because you're closing out this red X. When this pops up, if you ever open it up, in order to have this reboot and actually apply these profiles on reboot every single time, you're going to want to not hit the red X and just minimize it. When you hit the red X, it ends up popping up when it restarts, and you're going to have to work really fast to jump in here, hit this button, go in, and set up which profile you want to have launch on startup. Yeah, it's a real pain. That graphical glitch will come back unless you just minimize. That's all you have to do. Again, when I recorded this section of the video, I was not actually recording what I was talking about, so I'm just going to play this video and go over what I was saying when I originally recorded it. So, I want you to set up a RAID, or want to show you how to go and set up a RAID so you don't lose your information after you do all this hard work and you spend all this time making artwork. But there's no easy GUI to do it in within any Linux distro that I have found. I've looked for apps, control panels, that kind of thing. Couldn't find anything, but I did find this. This will install, and it's really easy to install. I'm going to take you through the instructions. You just go to Downloads here, go down to the Debian package, and you're going to download that. Now, once that's finished downloading, it will pop up. And there it goes. I'm going to close it out because I already have it downloaded. Open that up, and I'll show you how to easily install it without any command lines and not fighting with keys. You're just going to go find the package, open it up with that installer. It's checking to see if it is installed. Could take some time, especially if you already have installed it and it's just double checking. So you would click the install button and it would ask you for your password. I could click the reinstall button, but I don't need to. So now that that's done, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your computer, your web browser, and you're going to type in localhost, and you're going to go to port 10,000. Once you go there, you're going to actually sign in with your username and password like you're signing into your desktop. You need that because this tool actually is an administrative panel for your entire operating system. If you want, you can go uninstall it after the fact, but really nobody should be getting in to past your firewall and stuff like that. So if you're super paranoid, you can go uninstall it after you do this step, but this was the easiest way to show you on how to go and set up a RAID and actually how to manage a RAID in the future when one of your drives dies on you without having to do command lines and possibly messing that up. What you're going to do is you're going to go down to Hardware and Linux. And you know what? I'm going to stop that now. I know I have another video, and I'm going to start bringing that up where it actually shows and I go through the process. I'll just show you the video. All right, at this point, you're coming into webmin. You have 2 hard drives installed. You want to put them into RAID, and you're going to go to your system, disks, and network. No, we don't need to do anything in here. All right, because we're just going to destroy them anyway. Make sure you don't have anything saved on these hard drives. They are going to get destroyed. You're going to go down here to, not physically destroyed, but you're going to lose everything. At the hardware, go to Linux RAID. What we want to do is we want to move this to RAID 1 mirrored. They're smart and they have it labeled nicely for us. Create this. You're going to hit, and you have to hold Control. If you accidentally click down here, you don't want those. What you got to do is Control click, it'll unclick it, and let's click both of those up here. You want both of these in your partition. Super block. I've been just hitting next on all of this, and it's been working. That is it. It's going to do its little mumbo jumbo, and 2 to 3 hours later on a 1 terabyte RAID, it will be completed. And that'll go into the next part of the video, and I'll show you that. So, all right, here's the little timer. You want to know where you're at, hit refresh, and it will update, I assure you, and I'm pretty sure this timer is wrong because it seems to take forever. All right, so the RAID is done being made. It says that it's clean. Click in here. It says you can attach the device and all of that. It's going to auto mount to there. Let's see if it is double. It's seen in disks. Format. Volume name. We're not going to do the quick one. Save that. Next. Format. Not mounted. Edit mount options. Mount on startup. Apparently you have to click show in user interface. Hit OK. Now when we go into here, do have it listed. Let's turn off hidden. Okay. And we do have access to it. Now check Blender. And Blender opened up on my tablet. Down here. And we can map to it. So, Alright, and this is the last piece of hardware that I actually have hooked up to my workstation that I'm going to need. I stopped buying Wacom products a while ago just because of the cost, and I started buying Huion. I hope that I'm pronouncing it right. That's the way I've been pronouncing it for years. If you go to huion.com, you can go to, they added a nice little Linux driver this summer. So if we go to, I have a '13 submit. You can go download the Debian file. You go download this. Once that's in your downloads, I have it 2 copies of it. Yeah, I got 2 copies. Right mouse click, open it up with the package installer. It'll pop up. You can install the package. I thought I did have it. I do have it. Okay. So once it's in there, really surprised that it's actually popping up because it's not connected at the moment. But you'll be able to adjust all of your settings through this applet just like you do in Windows. You can adjust your pen sensitivity, your hotkeys. The only thing you don't get is the profiles, but you can set up exports. So you create all your profiles, you export them, and then when you want to swap them out for your application, you import it. You can set the default settings, that kind of thing. It's a workaround. Not really happy. I'd rather have a drop down like we do in Windows, but this is a beta driver, so hopefully they improve it as it goes on. Works so far way better. I also wish we had calibration, which is not enabled on here yet. Other than that, it is a great little applet, way better than trying to pop up the standard tablet applets that are in most of these applications. So it just won't tell you without doing a bunch of extra stuff. Alright, and that wraps up this video. In the next video, I'm going to go through and show you what the average workflow is moving from Krita into Blender. I'm going to get that set up with the RAID mirror, so that way we're little tips and tricks. We're going to show you how to go and set up a library on that RAID mirror, so that way you're not losing your work. And the new library function that was added in Blender in 3.0 is amazing, and it's going to save you so much time on your workflow because you're going to be able to make assets, reuse them with that library, not lose them. And I'm going to show you what add-ons and stuff like that I use to go into Unreal. With that said, I'm going to close this out. If this helped you, like and subscribe. Have a nice day. See you in the next video.